My view is very similar to most librarians, actually, which is that what you read is very personal. It's a big part of the right of freedom of expression is also the freedom to read. And what people are reading is really their own business, and that's very important to us.
Now let's talk about LavaBit. Now this is the website that allegedly is used by Edward Snowden as his email site, and the site chose to shut itself down rather than comply with the U.S. government. So you have a site like LavaBit, but then you also have sites like Google that have complied with the U.S. government and handed over data to the NSA. Where does Wikipedia stand in all this?
Well, we're not going to shut down over one request from the government. We can't do that. We've been very fortunate in that we have to date not been served with any of these kinds of secret orders or whatever. I've said personally, if I'm ever served with one, I will have to exercise my freedom of speech as my conscience dictates. I think these things are really unconstitutional and aren't going to stand for very long. But in the meantime, I think it's very interesting to watch something like LavaBit. There's too little known right now to really judge the situation, but I think as far as I can see so far, it seems like quite an admirable thing for them to have done.
Now, you've been very critical about mainstream media reporting of the Snowden affair, of the NSA leaks. And in fact, you want to kickstart a new discussion about shaking up journalism. What are you proposing?
Well, I think it's really interesting how we see even very respected outlets, unfortunately, chasing after clicks, chasing after, sort of very short-term viewership goals and things like that. And I think what's getting lost in the current market state is real, serious, long-form journalism, which I think there is a hunger on the part of the public for that. So I have a lot of ideas about how we might change things. I think it's important that we realize what online communities can and can't do. We see a lot of exciting potential, and I want to really think about how can we harness that and build something new.
Now, on the record, here at Newsstream, we have never aired any sort of tabloid-type reporting on Edward Snowden. No Edward Snowden girlfriend stories, okay? We believe in responsible journalism. But you also mentioned earlier today about this hybrid model, right? That you can continue to work as a journalist, but to somehow crowdsource that and work with the crowd. I mean, how would that work?
Well, I don't know. That's part of the opening conversation I want to have. But, when we look at discussions at Wikipedia, you'll often see very intellectual, very thorough discussions trying to get at the truth, whereas usually the way newspaper comments work, at the bottom of any news story online, you read the comments and you weep for the future of humanity. It's really not very well done, and there's a lot of sort of bile and angry people, and it's just useless. So what I want to think about is how do we harness all the good people out there to bring out good commentary on the news, good participation on the news, and actually help journalists. We live in an era when people who have information can come to journalists much more easily than ever before. We're seeing this in dramatic ways, whether for good or for bad, depending on your perspective, with things like Snowden. I think it can happen in a lot of smaller ways as well, to really engage the public in the process of journalism.
Now, Wikipedia is only as good, is only as strong as its community, as the editors and the contributors that build it. I learned that 90% of your editors are male. And is that true?
87%.
All right, 87%. Let's round it up. We'll just keep it 87%. What do you plan to do about that?
Well, there's a lot of things that we want to do about it. So one of the first things that we're doing is letting people know that say, look, we really want more women editing. We want more diversity in our editing community, and that's something we really welcome. So we're trying to do a lot of outreach programs, things like this. In the UK, they just recently did a weekend event to improve the entries about famous women scientists, and we got some famous women scientists in the UK to help chip in and help us do that. But then another thing we want to do to diversify the editing base is right now we have in live beta, you can go on the site right now and try it, is our new editing environment, which is much more like a word processing environment. For a long time it's been a bit too tech geeky to be able to edit Wikipedia, and I'm not saying that women aren't good at computers, absolutely not, but I'm saying the kinds of people who are really tech geeks tend to overwhelmingly be tech geek men, and so people like my father feel excluded from editing Wikipedia. You shouldn't have to learn markup language to contribute what you know to the world. So we really want to focus on that editing interface, making it easier for more people to participate.
And become a more welcoming community to newbies,
absolutely.
to not just women, but newbies. Also,
well, that's what I would call the third pillar of our approach, is really to take a good look. One thing the Wikipedia community has been well known for over the years is that we are a nice community. We try to be friendly, we try to be welcoming, but we want to always take another look at that and say, well, in what way might we be turning off people who don't fit our profile of tech geek men, and how can we be more welcoming?